this camera real quick. Okay, there we go. Oh, this is what you get. This is what you get when. This is what you get when you don't close out Game 6. When you fold at home in Game 6, scoring 5 points in 4 minutes, in 5 minutes. And the Sixers blew it. And they had a 3-2 lead. And they let Jason Tatum get hot. And they quit at the end of the game. Today, they got their asses kicked. Again, I wasn't being negative just to be negative. I tell the truth to my audience. That's my job. That's my main priority here on this YouTube channel, this Big Fight Field channel. That's my number one priority, is to always tell the truth to my audience. And when the Sixers blew Game 6 to the Boston Celtics at home, and they were going back to TD Garden for Game 7, I said the Sixers never had a chance to win Game 7. They've already won 2 games in Boston, and now it's time to go back and lose in Game 7. And that's exactly what happened. And I expected it to be as ugly as it was. I expected at least a 15 to 20 point win. The Celtics won by 24 points. The Sixers scored 10 points in the third quarter. And in the third quarter, when it was 79 to 58, I shut the game off, man. I watched a live stream so I could keep up with anything that's going on. I was just hanging out on my phone, and it is what it is. This is the same result every year from the Sixers, and I don't know why anybody would expect it to be different. But as sportsmanship, I hate the Celtics. I can't stand the Celtics. I hope they lose to the Miami Heat. But for today, for this game, congrats. You outclassed the Sixers for 48 minutes. You were by far the better team in this game. And what the difference was in this game was you had 2 stars on each team. Joel Embiid and James Harden for the Sixers, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for the Celtics. I don't even need to read you guys the stats of the game, because when I tell you these stats for those 4 players, you're going to tell who won this game and what stars showed up, okay? Let's go with Joel Embiid and James Harden first. Joel Embiid shot 5 for 18, had 15 points and 8 rebounds. James Harden shot 3 for 11, had 9 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. James Harden, he's 34 years old. He's washed. Sixers brought him in for a short-term deal. Let him walk in the offseason. I honestly don't care if James Harden comes back. If he comes back, whatever. But if he walks, that's fine with me. I don't expect him to be back in the Sixers uniform next year. You can let him walk back to the strip club in Las Vegas, because that's exactly where he wants to go. So I don't care about him. As far as Joel Embiid goes, you were the MVP of the entire season. The MVP of the regular season. Yet nobody is going to take you serious now. Nobody is going to talk about the great MVP season that Joel Embiid had, because when it mattered most, win or go home, when it mattered most, Joel Embiid crumbled like he always does. And that's his legacy. His legacy is squandered. James Harden's legacy has squandered. They relied on a 22-year-old Tyrese Maxey to carry them in the third quarter. And you can't ask for a 22-year-old to put in most of the workload. That's just so unrealistic. Let me read your stats for the Celtics two-star players. Jaylen Brown, 25 points, 6 rebounds, shot 9 for 19. Jason Tatum set a new high. He has the most points in Game 7 history. Steph Curry held on to that record for 2 weeks. Jason Tatum, 51 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. Shot 17 for 28. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why the Celtics won. The Celtics won because their stars showed up. They thrived on the big stage. The Sixers stars squandered, and they crumbled like they always do. I think it's time to tear it up for the Sixers. It's time to tear it up. What's been going on in the NBA recently with coaches getting fired? The Milwaukee Bucks fired Mike Budenholzer after he won the NBA championship 2 years ago because they got eliminated in the first round by the 8th seed Miami Heat. Monty Williams got fired because he couldn't get the Phoenix Suns out of the second round for 2 years when he was coaching in the NBA Finals 2 years ago. Doc Rivers should have been fired in 2021. The Sixers didn't fire him for whatever reason. They kept him around. And now with this loss, now losing the series to the Celtics, I think Doc Rivers is as good as gone. He'll probably be fired either tomorrow or Tuesday. James Harden won't be back on this team. The big question is going to be, are the Sixers going to be like, screw it, we're going to trade Joel Embiid, and we're going to tear this shit down, and we're going to start over. Trade Tobias Harris, too, while you're at it, because he's the most useless player in the NBA. $37 million to be absolutely useless on offense. PJ Tucker's probably going to retire, 38 years old. He does have a 3-year contract with the Sixers, but I can see him retiring. But I would build it. I would not be shocked if the 76ers tear this down. And if they trade Joel Embiid and they rebuild around Tyrese Maxey and whatever players they bring in the Joel Embiid trade, that would not shock me. I really do think that you can't repeat this every year and expect different results, because you're going to get the same result time and time again with this organization, with this team, because they just aren't built for the postseason like teams like the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics are. You want to know why they're facing each other again in the Eastern Conference Finals for 3 out of 4 years? Because they're actually built for the playoffs. The Boston Celtics are built for the playoffs because of how stacked their roster is. The Miami Heat is built for the playoffs because of the culture they have, because of the culture that Eric Spoelstra has created in Miami. and they know how to compete in the playoffs, and they're showing you this year. The Sixers don't have that. Doc Rivers doesn't have that. James Harden sucks in the postseason. Joel Embiid sucks in the postseason. These guys are stuck from the same cloth. And I knew this shit was over. I knew the series was over. I told you guys Thursday, the series was over. When the Sixers were down by 8 points, and Embiid and Harden were walking up the court. I knew it was over. Now, I could talk about the ref thing that Adrian Wojnarowski dropped today, but there's no point because the Sixers, they didn't lose because of a terrible call or a decision that changed the game or changed the series. I will say this. When the Sixers were up 8 and a flagrant 1 was called on James Harden, the game changed in this first half. Because then the Celtics went on an 8-0 run and the Celtics regained the lead before half. But that's kind of on James Harden too, because it's like, bro, all you're looking is you're going up and you're looking for these fouls and you're not balling. You're not hooping. You're shitting the bed. And he did not show up. He did not play good at all. And his performances that he had in Game 1 and Game 4, they don't matter anymore. Joel Embiid's regular season doesn't matter anymore because of how piss poor he played in the playoffs. All the bad games Jason Tatum had in this series doesn't matter anymore. Why? Because on the big stage, when it mattered most, he dropped 51 fucking points. And the Boston Celtics outclassed the Sixers. And they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. While the Sixers have a whole lot of question marks going into the offseason. They don't know if Joel Embiid's going to be on the team next year. Doc Rivers is more than likely going to be fired, so they're going to be looking for a new head coach. It's a mess. It's a mess. I'm happy that the Phillies, even though they broke my heart in the World Series, Jose Alvarado giving up a 3-run home run to Yordan Alvarez broke my heart, and I didn't watch the rest of that game either. At least last year, the Phillies exceeded well over expectations. The Sixers didn't exceed expectations. In college ball, North Carolina didn't even make the tournament. Last year, the Dolphins didn't exceed expectations. Yes, they made the playoffs, but they were 8-3 in December, and they finished the year 9-8 and barely squeaked into the playoffs. It sucks, man. It sucks. The sports torture that we put ourselves through. But I don't want to talk anymore about this nonsense. It's probably wrapping up with the Sixers content on the channel until next year, but we'll see what we got moving forward. We still got AEW, Double or Nothing's coming up, so we'll be back with the Dynamite reviews this week. Collision, the new AEW show, Collision, starting soon, so at least I'll have new content to do. And yeah, I don't know how this summer is going to shake up, but we shall see. But I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Colin_Joseph. and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy. Peace.